Hello and welcome to Tabletop 24. I'm Alan.
I'm John.
I'm Brian.
And welcome to our recap of Airecon 2024. If you have watched along with the channel, we have done our preview for the 2024, and obviously we do these every time for Airecon and for UKGE and for some of the events that we attend. This is our recap. This is to let you know what you may have missed, what we've got coming up on the channel because of the videos that we've taken, our experiences, some surprises along the way, and just generally a bit of chit chat about the event and how we feel about it. I mean, start off with, it's no real surprise that we like the event. The last weekend didn't have any negative impact on that. I think we all enjoyed ourselves to start off with.
No, it just gets bigger and better and more impressive every year, really does.
Yeah, so what were we looking forward to?
Well, mainly playing some games, to be honest, and just getting a chance just to sort of just binge out on games, really, as opposed to some of the other conventions are much more focused around the commerce and the meeting the exhibitors. This is a chance to sit down with people, meet the people that you've seen for a couple of years again, and just play games.
Yeah, and then I think that's it. And we always say about Airecon being the playing convention. It is one of those type things. It's what I would deem the largest playing convention.
Yes.
The next sort of stage up, you're looking at the likes of something like UKGE, which is more commercialised, and obviously if you then look at the likes of Essen I mean, they are big leaps, but they are very commercialised.
Yeah.
Talking to somebody over the weekend, and they were saying basically like Essen is just a big shop. It's not really to sit and play games. It is just a big shop. Having not been. Something that's on the bucket list.
We get asked every year, are you going to go to Essen this year? And every year it's like, maybe. For me, I think it's just the indulging in 4 days of games. Normally, games you would get a games night or a games day or maybe a 2-day. You know, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But having 4 days where you can just be focused on the hobby and play games, talk about games, look at games, think about buying games, think about selling games, seeing new games, it's just great. So it's just that week, that 4 days is just lovely.
It encompasses everything that we love about the hobby, that whole thing. And the one thing obviously we do on this channel is we're all about the community and the community that we share. And that is very much in the spirit of what Airecon is. You get a lot of time to spend with people.
Yeah, and everyone else was doing that as well. So, you know, it was just that there's lots of tables and lots of games being played. And I liked walking past the tables and seeing what was being played as well. Seeing old favourites being played, seeing new games you've not seen before.
Yeah, and actually, thinking about it now, it's almost... Obviously, with some of the bigger conventions that we've mentioned, like UKG, you go along to see these games being demoed. You get to see that at other people's tables with games that are out.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't get like that preview piece or that coming soon piece, but you actually can go and take a flavour of a game that you've had your eye on in your local friendly game store.
And the good thing is, people are happy to share that experience with you. So what are you playing there? And they'll talk to you about it. Generally, you know, usually quite happy to talk about it.
There's some people on the table behind us, and they had the all singing, all dancing, brand new copy version of Castles of Burgundy.
Oh yeah,
I've got a lovely brown and beige original copy, but the plastic and the bright colours and it looked and it was bling. It was really bling, and I was tempted. I was like, that looks really nice.
We had that last year with Wandering Towers. We had this year with Takanoko, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, people will come over, people will see it. I saw a number of people playing Hegemony, and Hegemony is a game I've not yet played, but I'm really interested in seeing. We had it with Lords of Vegas because I've got the deluxe edition. All these things that just get that bit of interaction with the community, and that is very much what it is about. But enough on that. The venue, as always, fantastic. We were down the bigger end of the venue, but with a few extras this year. So we had the Royal Hall, which was host to the majority of the events that would have normally been in one of the suites, which is very different.
It's a beautiful building, room, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, all sort of gilt edging and finish.
Built in 1903.
Yeah.
Basically, as part of the tourist trade, to get more people in who go to the spas as a theatre for shows. It was absolutely beautiful.
Yes, stunning.
And worked, and it was packed out for the quiz, and there was tables on the floor, and then people in the stalls, and then for the raffle and for other things, it was just absolutely packed, and it kind of shows that it's outgrowing the smaller little bits of the venue, and it needs that space.
It did need that
Yeah,
space.
and it made some of the events a little bit more accessible in the sense that previously, when it's been in suites, everybody's on the same level for when they're sitting, even the presenting and the acts. So actually, when you're sitting in a flat arena, or I say flat arena, flat room, you don't get to see everything. And if you're sitting at the back, you've got heads all in the way. Whereas actually in that sort of environment, you're looking up at the stage. If you're down in the circle, and then off in the stalls.
Yeah.
I've got that right way around, haven't I?
Yeah.
Off in the stalls, you're on obviously a bit of a slope. So it really sings to that sort of, actually, you can engage with those in a much better, they become a performance more than obviously just a seminar, really.
But, you know, that hard limit of those smaller little seminar rooms as well is now gone, because I remember the quiz last year, there was people fighting to get in. And that's where we met Michael and Gar, who we met again this year. Hello, guys.
Hi, guys.
And you know, this year it was just there was more space for more people. To, how many were there for the quiz?
125 teams had capacity. I think they were almost reached that 117. And I think there's like 4 or 5 people on a team. It kind of that was. I mean, the tables quickly got taken, didn't they?
We did terribly.
Very, very badly.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So they also had, obviously we've mentioned the food facilities in our video, and obviously we can get onto a bit of food later, but they also had the Studio 2, which was solely for food catering from the convention centre, but also enabled some tables and chairs to actually
I was going to say, there's much more places to sit down and eat as well now than last time, and it was much, it's really nice to have that.
Before, when you're trying to eat next to games you're playing, or in the same place where you're eating and maybe getting nearly spoiling games, it's better to eat away and come back to the table you're playing. Much better. Worked a lot better.
Yeah, it did. So talking of things that we've we've experienced that we've improved on. We mentioned in our 2023 recap about the bring and buy. It felt a little bit clustered when we were in there.
Yeah.
This year it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, the only bit was it was going through the same door as if you was collecting your tickets, but you could bypass that if you was just dropping off games.
Yeah.
So which was great, and to drop off for the games was actually inside Hall A.
Yeah.
Which meant you could just go in, drop off your games, get that sorted, and come out again. I got there for about 4:30. I had 2 big bags of games.
Yeah.
And I was in, through and out by 5 o'clock.
Yeah. When you dropped us off, Benji and I went in, and by the time we had checked our games in and stickered them up to hand them in, there were already people in the hall playing games. So do you know what I mean? It was you could see, you could it was all, we stood there going, all the anticipation. We know we're going to play some games. It was I was fully hyped by that point. I just wanted to get in there and play.
Yeah, it worked really well. I think
it did.
And they also extended it to the game library as well.
Yes.
So you could just use the same essential barcode to book games out, and I made it much slicker and smoother experience.
Yeah, we said that one thing that does make Airecon and the Airecon convention stand out is the game system. I think it's really well done.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to probably break Rick's heart now, but in its implementation it's very simple. You'd have thought in this day and age you could be able to do your bring and buy online, you could check into games, buy and look at games on the library, but nowhere else really does it at least as well as Airecon does it. And I think the fact that it encompasses all of that, you get one ID number for all of it. Obviously we mentioned about the library, you now don't have to put a deposit in for the library as long as you provide your phone number, which is, I say useful because you don't have to, there's no cash going backwards and forwards with like deposits for cards and stuff like that, which makes it just a little bit nicer.
I think a bit also speaks to testament for the amount of honesty that there is in returning games.
Yeah.
If there would have been, if it had gone the other way, the deposit would have gone up. But the fact it's gone down just says that everybody's returning the games and the system's working really well.
Yeah, and that comes back to that community feel. But the game system that I know obviously there's a lot of work that goes into the back end of that.
Yeah.
But it works really well. It really does.
Yeah.
You can see games in the library before you check them out, see what's in the library at that moment. Yeah. So you don't even have to go in queue. You don't even have to browse. If you know that game that you want, you can see when that comes in, get a notification when it comes handed back. You can check your games. I mean, we was constantly checking what was going in the bring and buy and what we were
it was a game
selling.
within itself.
Yeah. Me and Joe were tallying it up as we were going, because obviously we dropped a fair bit to the bring and buy, and we were just going through it and actually, right, okay, that's gone. And it was a little bit of a game. Also meant we knew how much money we could spend elsewhere and how many games we could get.
Whoever bought my games, thank you very much. I brought 4 home with me, so, and those ones, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, some will sell, it might not be the taste. I know you took some games that you took last year that hadn't sold last year that sold this year.
They did sell this year, yeah. So I think I took 11 or 12 and bought only 4-back, so I'm really pleased with that. Yeah, and I picked up some games in the bingo bar as well.
Yeah.
So
it's good to sort of recycle through the collection doing that way.
Yeah.
And obviously, going through. We all know that whilst you won't get what you paid for on a board game, a lot of them do hold their value, and in the hobby and move through.
So the first year we went, I bought Keyflower, and I sold it this year, having not taken it out of the box for exactly what I paid for it for. So do you know, it's good that games are recycled, and it gives them another life, and it gives them somebody who may use them rather than it just sitting on your shelf. I mean,
that's exactly, someone else can enjoy it if you're not quite enjoying it anymore.
Exactly, and that's what the hobby is very good at that, about recycling those kind of things. So.
Yeah. One of the other things, moving on, we had mentioned food. Different this year, there was some trolley services going around.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Genius.
I saw that coming around the tables. Anyone want a drink or some chocolate? Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
I think because whilst the facilities are always on hand in any of the halls, if you're just happen to pick a poor seat or there wasn't a seat close to the facilities, you kind of, it was, I say a chore to go and get a drink. It wasn't a chore to go and get a drink, but it meant you probably timed it at a different point. Yeah, the trolleys wasn't coming around every 5 minutes, so you didn't feel pestered. But when it did come around, it was like, oh yeah, do you know what? Yeah, there's some ice cream coming around.
Yeah, the ice cream was good. Yeah,
so
that's some ice cream.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
But no, it kind of surprised me, but then I just thought, what a genius idea, because if you're in the middle of a game, you're not going to want to get up for a cup of tea. You normally take your break at the end of the games. So it's just coming around naturally, I'll take a cup of tea, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Bacon rolls and sausage sandwiches next year, please.
Yeah. Well, they had those actually in the thing, but yeah. So that was good there. So we obviously mentioned this is a playing convention, and we did get some games to the table, which was great for us. We actually organised our days a little bit better, so we got to play a few more than we would normally. Some longer games. Normally we get quite a few games in, but they tend to be shorter. But this time, so we had a few standout games. For me, the first one was Art Project from Hachette, or distributed by Hachette. I had my eye on it a little while and I actually got to take it out of the library. Outplayed really well. That was really nice.
That was nice. Lovely cooperative. Stop the robbers. Really nice. And probably the biggest laughs. Probably the most serious game we played of the weekend, but probably the biggest laughs from us for various reasons. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. Really nice play.
So much so I went and bought a copy and put it home with me. So that'll be coming up on a review hopefully in the nearish future. But there were some others. Winners.
Far Away.
Far Away.
We when we got there, they had 60 copies on the first day, which had sold out, and there was 40 the next day. So we managed got into the hall a bit early, so I managed to bag a copy of that.
Yeah, we went on Saturday and they'd gone.
Yeah, lovely tile laying game. So you lay left to right and then score right to left. So it's kind of a bit of brain burner. First game, you sort of like halfway through, you go, oh, I know what I'm doing, and then you realise you're going to score absolutely 0 points because you've got it all around the wrong way. But lovely game. Look out for that one at UKG. That would do really well.
Yeah, I got to do some demos. I was really pleased to catch up with Joe and Maddie at Cogito Ergo Meeple and play Meeple Inc. That was really good fun. And there's a really nice solo card game based on War of the Worlds by Matt. So that's coming hopefully to crowdfunding at some point.
That was so up your street, wasn't it?
I love the franchise War of the Worlds. Yeah, so One More Day I think the subtitle is.
Yeah.
So yeah, look out for that.
If you could have seen Brian's eyebrows, as I said, solo.
And he had some lovely hats as well.
He had hats.
So he got to wear a nice hat.
Which is good.
So we're going to have videos up for those as well as other exhibitors in the sort of coming days, coming weeks for that. There was 2 surprises on games that came for us this weekend. One of which was a game called Peruke, which we caught up with Mark about. So that video will come out. That was a bit of a surprise sleeper for us.
Yeah.
It's a very, I say simple. It's the objective in it is fairly simple, whereby you're trying to essentially eliminate the opposing player's discs by rolling some dice, and it ensues like this sort of battle backwards and forwards between all the players that are sitting around, and that was quite fun, really.
That I'm ashamed to say I would have gone back and got him, but he'd left on the Sunday. I would have picked up a copy of that. If he's at UKG, I definitely will seek him out and get one because that was good.
Yeah, and they're all laser crafted out of wood. So it's a nice quality product. Comes in a tough metal tin. So it's kind of going to last you as well.
Yeah, very, very nice product. Very, very nice. The other one was Challengers.
Yeah,
Challengers.
Pulled that out of the library when we got there.
I said to John, "You'll like this," and he went, nah.
Yeah, and then he said it's chaos, and it was.
Yeah.
So it's a battle. It's a one-on-one battle game, but it plays up to 8 people out of the box, and you sort of like I'll play Brian, and then Alan will play Benji, then I'll play Benji, and you swap round, and then it's the best of is it
seven rounds,
and then
the two best players play off.
Yeah,
and you're deck building and deck crafting, but there's quite a bit of randomness in there on how everything comes out. I wanted to give it a go because I thought it was going to be a nice filler for us, and it was. But like I say, so much so that somebody went to buy a copy.
So the local game shop in Huddersfield, we were in there. Harrogate. Just call it Huddersfield so many times. Harrogate, on top of the hill, had a copy in, and we didn't pick it up because we didn't quite know what it was.
Yeah.
And there wasn't another copy for sale in the halls anywhere. So I spoke to the nice lady who ran the shop, and they brought it down from the hill, and I picked it up the next day, so I didn't even have to go back to get it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
such nice people.
they were absolutely brilliant, and everybody there was just so friendly. But they were absolutely brilliant. So great service. Thank you very much. Games Crusade, wasn't it?
Games Crusade.
Yeah. And they're great. And obviously, if you do attend Airecon, it's always good to pop along to the shop because they have a bit more variety. Yeah. They do a lot of sort of children's toys as well, and puzzles. So not just the hobbyist gamer stuff. Some of the stuff that on the fringes. They do quite a few like escape room type things.
Yeah, you picked up some books.
Yeah, I picked up some Sherlock Holmes escape room books that I'm going to try out, which would be quite nice. So we've mentioned the games that we've played and we quite enjoyed. Now, the one thing we did, we looked back at our recap from last year, and last year the standout game of the convention was Heat. Every other table had a copy of Heat on it. The one thing that we did notice this year, and we kind of suspected this going in, there was no what I would call a standout game. There was games that were being played and lots of games. I mean, I think the game that clicks in my mind the most is probably Blood on the Clock Tower, but I don't know whether that's because we were sitting next to where they were
There's several versions of that going on, weren't there?
There was at least 3 or 4 games of that going on in different halls and all the time.
Several times a day.
2 booms in a room as well. They
were,
as well. My wife was convinced they were a cult or a prayer meeting, and every time they started up, her eyebrows went up, and it was quite amusing watching her her eyes of derision. Bless her, but I was trying go and play it, Caroline, and she just wouldn't. But I think if she went and played it, she'd absolutely love it. I think it really do.
I like that game.
But there was a few other copies, like Hegemony was out there. There's quite a few copies of that running around. There was a couple of copies of Wormspan. Surprised we didn't see much more of that.
No, I thought I'd see more of that.
Yeah,
I saw it in a box. I didn't see it being played.
Yeah.
But then for shame, I wasn't stalking the halls and looking at the games. I was passing through, and because we were playing games, you tend not to notice what other people are doing.
Yeah, there was a couple of copies of Far Away, but obviously there was only, as we said, 110 copies for the whole weekend. So people would have bought them and moved on, or not even played it, not even opened it, wait until they got home potentially. So yeah, there was a few copies of that going around, but there was no real standout.
Yeah, no, there was the Lorcana stand, but there, the demos of that, though I didn't see many people playing that out there. Yeah, there was nothing that really sort of like was the hotness for the show.
No, but that just shows the variety of the hobby, I think, more than anything. Moving on to the exhibitors now. So obviously we mentioned the trade hall. So it's a bit split more this year. There was a few more people that have exhibited in the past that are now running demo tables. Because they can actually get more people to the table and more people to the game. Whereas in the exhibitors hall, they probably were finding that they were having short, sharp chats and not getting people involved in the game. So there's a little bit of a different way of doing it this year for those guys. The demo area has been around for a while. I just think it's got that a little bit bigger, and people are shifting their focus a little bit more. But there was obviously the trade hall, which was quite busy for a lot of the time. Friday it was a bit quiet. But Saturday it was definitely bustling. Sunday it died down again towards the evening. But that's literally the trend for the weekend. It always is fairly quiet on the Friday, gets really busy in the Friday evening, and follows that through into the Saturday, and then drops off on the Sunday. That's just standard, that is.
What was really nice when we were doing our interviews and talking to people, they were saying, "Oh, yeah, thank you very much. You should go and talk to these people because they've got a really good game." So we would talk to them, and they'd say, "Oh, these people have got a really good game," and then we'd be saying, "Oh, well, they've said this," and they'd go, "Yes, go and see these people." And we must have seen about 5 or 6 people just by word of mouth, of people just going to see. And there were some really, really impressive games, some really good stuff out there, some really good stuff coming as well.
Yeah, which was really good. It's nice to have those chats with people. So we're going to have some of those videos up, like I say, hopefully in the next sort of week or so. As of this video, majority of them are edited. We've still got to do some bits and pieces to make sure that we can get them out. But we've got that coming, so that should stay tuned for those. But yeah, it was great to sort of work around the hall, see all the exhibitors. There's a lot more trade stalls. There's a couple of big trade stalls. So Travelling Man obviously was there, Firestone Games. Obviously we mentioned Games Crusade and Games Law as well. So there's and all rolled up. So there were lots of little stalls you could have purchased from. Obviously Hachette were there. They had one massive booth because they've always got some good stuff going on. We're going to have quite a long video with Rob from Hachette on there with a nice surprise at the end of that. So yeah, stay tuned for that one. Asmodee had quite a nice area. Imagination Gaming had quite a nice area for some of their demoing and stuff like that. So yeah, it was everything that we expected in that sense. With
just to say that it's like a third, isn't it? It's a third trade to the rest of the thing, and that seems to me for Airecon is perfectly manageable and sensible size.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to see the trade outstripping the games. It's about the games. Keep it about the games, and I'm glad to see that it is.
And I mean, being completely selfish, I don't want many more tradespeople there. It means more interviews for us to do, which is great because it comes out to you guys. But at the same time, it's more work for us to do. So we like to use this as a little bit of downtime as well. So there's a little bit in there. The events obviously were held throughout the weekend. We mentioned the Royal Hall being used a lot of the time for those. The couple of things that we attended was the pub quiz. Like we said, we did awful in it. We've had complained to Mark that it was more difficult. Don't know if that was just us. People did very well.
But Mark did say that he tried the quiz immediately after writing it and still failed to get all 4 points.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that Mark, that says everything for me today. But yeah, I think that's always a good highlight. It's always a bit of fun. But yeah, we didn't do very well. Anyway.
Some of the people must be so quick off the mark getting those answers down.
Yeah.
Because we thought we were quick, but we still couldn't get top 10.
Yeah.
But our friend,
we did a couple of times.
Twice.
Yeah.
Take that. Michael and Gar, whenever we saw them, they seemed to be going to another event, and they had tickets to see so many things. And we're going to see this, we're going to see this, and we were just playing games.
Yeah,
we're just playing games. So I don't know if they actually played any games or not. Let us know in the comments, Michael, if you.
Well, that just shows different people have got different interests and different reasons for going there, isn't it?
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll have those bits and they'll go through some of those things. So Caroline went to the Jolly Boat.
Yeah, she liked it. So it was naughty but not rude. So, but she found it very amusing. Yeah, so I think she enjoyed it. I think that not cheered up, but just sort of like made her night that there was something like that going on. I don't think she expected it. So my wife doesn't play a lot of board games. She's not been to Airecon before, so I don't know what she expected. But I think when we went in and she saw the scale of it and how many people were just actually sitting down by board games, she was quite taken aback. She thought it was a lot smaller than it was. She kind of thought it was sort of like a sports hall sized event. She was quite shocked about how many people there were there, which is good.
Yeah, it's great, and obviously, unfortunately, we don't get to many of the events because we're trying to obviously talk to people, or we're off actually trying to do some games ourselves. So that's might be one thing that we'll change for next year to try and give more of a review. More of a review out for those on that. Then the last thing that we attended in the hall was the charity raffle.
How'd you do on that, then, Alan?
Yeah, so there's a bit of a smile on our face on that. So let's start with what the raffle is. So the charity raffle is raising funds for the two charities that were supported by Airecon, which is one that's run by Imagination Gaming, which is aimed at getting games into schools and using it for enrichment and joy through play and learn through play. And the second one is Mary's Meals, that provide meals to underprivileged families and children and everybody all over the world. So the charity raffle is always used to raise funds for that, alongside some of the other bits that Airecon does, but it's one of the main sources of funding for those events. What that means is a lot of publishers and designers and stores and everybody you can name will donate games to the raffle. And you will have seen, if you've watched our preview video, some of the prizes that were going into that. They were loads. But how Airecon does it is they will split up those prizes into a number of lots. Rather than doing one ticket, one prize, they'll just go, right, okay, these X amount of games go on this table, these X amount of games go on this table. If you want to win this prize, you put your ticket in here. If you want to win this prize, you put your tickets in there. and then they just draw one ticket out of the whole bucket, and whoever gets that ticket wins that table. Okay, so your odds are slim sometimes.
Yeah.
Depends how you do it.
Mr. Math here worked out the odds. What are the odds, Alan?
So, based on the number of tickets that we purchased,
Don't give them the idea.
Yeah, well, yeah. Based on the number of tickets we purchased, assuming the fact that everybody purchased at the best rate possible, because it was £1 a ticket or £4 for a strip of 5. The number of funds that were raised, this is the big number, they raised £10,058.
Yeah, magnificent.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Beating last year's target by £2,500, if not more.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Yeah.
And so that was that. Based on those numbers, assuming that they were split evenly between the 8 lots that were there, we had about a 5% chance of doing well in that.
Yeah.
And we won. So we won the table that we went in for, which was absolutely surprising. And I think all 8 of us were shaking. Now, we didn't go all in for this. It was the only 3 of us that put tickets in that bucket were me, you, and Benji.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was this massive prize conglomerate that was doing it, because that's not something we believe in.
We put 20. It was literally 60.
Yeah, 60 quid in.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done every year.
Yeah.
It just happened that this year our luck was in, and we walked away with a stupid amount of games. So I'll put a picture up now of our smiling, grinning faces with the prizes.
Quite incredible.
And we were just blown away. So thank you to everybody that obviously donated to the raffle for that. We do it every year anyway.
Yeah.
We're still going to continue to do it because I think it's a great cause and a great thing. I don't want to win again. I don't think
it's totally. So the 2 IKEA bags worth of games that I took to sell, the space has now been taken up with games that were bloody won.
Yeah.
It is such a worthwhile pair of causes, and it's such a great event. And that hall, all the stalls were taken, all the tables were taken. It was standing. They could have filled the seats above us up. Probably it was incredible the amount of people that were in there for it. It was the adrenaline I had going through. I was properly shaking. It was fantastic. It turned what was a brilliant weekend into an absolute epic one.
Yeah, and like I say, I was talking to some of the other winners, and they were like, "I come up on the train.
Yeah,
I don't know how I'm going to get all these back."
Because that's the thing, you have to take those prizes away with you there and then. You cannot leave them and come back for them. So there is that lot came with us there and then.
Yeah.
So Brian's trolley, we were wheeling this trolley full of games through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gave me some cardboard boxes to take them away, but you still got to carry this big cardboard box full of games, and the games are not.
Yeah.
So we're incredibly fortunate to be doing this. We're incredibly fortunate to get some looks behind the scenes that we hopefully share with you guys. We're incredibly fortunate that as a 3, we are able to buy games and trade games and put them out there. Not everybody can do that, and we appreciate that. But we've now been blessed by having this win. Yeah. But what that means is we're going to be putting that back into the channel of the sense of we are going to be using that to record unboxings, which these guys have been doing all day. I've got a few more to do, and then we've got to edit them all. B, it means that we're going to be able to review some games that we potentially couldn't have reviewed wouldn't have reviewed because we didn't have access to those games. Yeah. So that means we're going to be able to do a little bit more content. And obviously we've been a bit quiet on the content front, but that's going to change. We're going to get a bit more ramping up on that. And what it may mean is that some of those games that once we've used them as review copies, we can potentially look at getting them out there and doing a few giveaways with some of that sort of stuff. Again, we do all of this off our own backs. There's no sponsorship involved. There's no Patreon involved. There's no crowdfunding involved. We are very grateful for anything that we get from publishers and designers and any sort of sneak peeks, preview copies or anything like that we get, which we don't get an awful lot of. This just enables us to do things a little bit more, and I couldn't be humbled more by the fact that we got that. And yeah, we were really grateful for that. And like I say, we're going to use that to put that back in. That does, however, mean that we now have to actually play those games. But that's another story for another day.
Again, what a great position to be in.
It's a nice problem to have.
It is.
Yeah. So just before we go, the thanks. So
thanks to volunteers.
Yes.
They were amazing as ever.
Yeah, the volunteers for Airecon are a special bunch of people, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. They are fantastic. They're always there to
Special
help.
shout out to Richard and Rosie, who got me in with my pass when I came on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Friday night.
Friday night.
Friday
So
night.
yeah, so look, they've been, most of these guys have been doing it for years now, and they've been there since the early days. And even those that are not, they are really, really helpful there. They'll go above and beyond to help you out, to make sure that you've got everything you need inside the hall, outside the hall, and everything. And obviously, thanks to Mark and the sort of directors for organising such a great event that they do every year.
Thanks to everybody for coming and making it such a good event and such a safe and inclusive space, and just having fun and being there.
So if you missed it, where could you go next?
Yeah, so on the back of that, there's going to be 3 Airecons a year at the moment. So the next one is going to be Airecon Northwest, or AC Northwest, which is going to be on the 16th to the 18th of August, and that is in Manchester. Last year that was in December sort of time, just to get it off the ground. But this year it's going to be a little bit bigger, and it's going to be in August time. Then we've got the one that we went to last year, which is AC West, or Airecon West, which is in Telford, and that's on the 18th to the 20th of October. That one's going to be split between the Telford Convention Centre and the hotel that's being used, which are next door to each other. So that's going to be a little bit of a different sort of setup than it was last year, which was predominantly in the hotel, but that does mean that they're going to be a little bit bigger. They're going to be able to have some better exhibitors there and stuff like that to get everything sort of off the ground. So, with all of that being said, if you have managed to watch until this point of view and listen to us waffle on, hopefully we've delivered some good information back to you guys. Hopefully you like what we do. If you do, please give us a like, please give us a subscribe. Check out the rest of the videos on the channel. Stay tuned for some of those interviews that are going to be coming out, those unboxings that we've been graced to be able to do. We will be getting our Would Play Again series off the ground again. Playthroughs,
We've
all
got
of
some
that
good
sort
content
of stuff.
coming.
Yeah,
we've got some good games coming, some good reviews, some good stuff. So please stick around.
So stay tuned.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.